Welcome to Pouches and More. Let's prepare this paper or file organizer. It's having a binding all around. It's completely lined from inside also, so no raw edges. It's got a magnetic snap as the closure. So let's get started and check out the materials required to make this. We require one piece of main fabric, and this measures 14 inches by 25.5 inches. Lining again 14 inches by 25.5 inches, and here we are using the foam for the quilting, and this measures 15 inches by 26.5 inches. We'll be using a binding strip, and this is the straight binding strip, and this measures 15 inches by 2 inches. We'll also be using the bias binding strip, that is, it is stretchable, and this measures 1.5 inches by 42 inches. One set of magnetic buttons. This also comes with the base or the washer. So it's like this. We'll require one set. So these are all the materials required. The first thing we'll be doing is we'll be quilting the fabrics together. So we've placed the lining fabric. In this, it's the wrong side is facing up now. On this, we'll be placing our quilting sheet or the foam sheet. And on this, we'll place our main fabric, right side facing up. That is, the wrong side will be facing down. So the quilting sheet is sandwiched in between the main fabric and the lining fabric, and we'll be making stitches, that is quilting it. We have made the stitches and we have also cut it, that is to 13.5 by 25.5 inches. Now on one side we'll be making a 9.5 inch mark on both the sides. This is where we will be folding it. So one side we have the flap and one side we'll have the fold. This is the fold side, and we'll be making on both the sides we'll be making a 9.5 inch mark. Now on one side this is done. On the other side we'll be making a center mark. So this is our flap side. We have made a center mark over here. Now again we'll go back to our fold side where we have done the 9.5 inch mark, and again we are on this side also we'll be making a center line. So we're just going to again align the corners and the edges like this and make a center line over here. This is where we will be fixing one piece of our button. So this is the flap side and this is the fold side. Now on the fold side we have made a center line. On the center line we'll be making a 3-inch mark. This is where we'll attach the magnetic button, that is one side. This is a 3-inch mark on the center line we have done. Now to attach the magnetic button we are going to take the base or the washer as it is, and we are going to place it, there's a center hole on the base. So we are going to align the center hole with this center mark, and on either side of the hole there is a line. So we are just going to make that marking. On this mark, that is the side lines, we are going to make a small cut with a seam ripper, and remember this will be done only on the main fabric and the quilting, not on the lining sheet. So the lining fabric will be moving out. Now here, in case you have done complete quilting, just open slight stitches from the top part. So here on the two marks that we did, we are going to cut it with the seam ripper, just a very small cut. Just make a very small cut only for the legs of the button to go inside. Do not make a bigger cut. Now on the wrong side where the legs are, we are going to place the base like this and flatten the legs. We have done this before also. So we are just going to insert the two holes into the legs and just flatten it with our fingers. So one side of a magnetic snap button is done. This is the flap side, remember. So this is how it will be looking. Now one side is done. On the flap side now, so one side we have done the magnetic button. On the other side, that is the flap side, we have made a center mark. Now on the sides over here, we are going to make another marking of 3.5 inches. This is because we need it to have the V shape or the envelope shape. In case you want to just keep it straight, then this is not necessary. On the center mark, Now we are going to make a mark again on either side of the center mark, ½ inch. So both sides of the center mark, again we have made a ½ inch mark, and we are going to connect this ½ inch mark that we did to the 3½ inch mark that we did on the side. So we are going to make this line only on one side, and once this line is done, we will also be curving the top part. So for that we will just take any circular object, place it over here on the top part and just make a curve. So we've just curved the top part of this line that we just did. Now we're going to fold it in half, aligning the corner and the edges, and we're going to cut both of the fabrics together. So our basic body is ready. This is the basic shape. Now on the side that we have to fold it, that is the part that we attach the magnetic button, we place it on the wrong side like this, and here we will be placing the straight binding, not the bias binding, the straight binding. We are going to align it with the raw edges and fold it like this. So the fold will be inside and the raw edges will be aligning with the raw edge over here, and we are just going to clip it together. We need to make a straight stitch over here. So remember, we have just folded the bias binding like this. So this is one method how we can attach the binding, that is we fold the binding strip in half while attaching it on one side, aligning the raw edges. Now we are going to make a straight stitch over here, that is on the raw edge. We are going to make a straight stitch. Once this is done, we are just going to turn it over to the other side, and we will be folding it. So here there are no raw edges, so we just need to fold it over the stitch so that the stitch is not visible, the stitch that we just did, and we are going to clip it together like this. So this is one method how we will be completing the binding. The other part, that is all around binding, we will be doing it in a different way. So here we are going to make a stitch now. It's a simple straight stitch. We will also cut the extras after finishing the stitch. So we finish the stitch and we have also cut the extra binding from both the sides. Now the 9½ inch mark that we did over here, we are going to just fold it. So this is the 9½ inch mark. We are going to fold it and clip it neatly. Before attaching the binding all around, we'll just be stitching this part together. So once we have clipped it, this is the 9½ inch mark, we are going to make a straight stitch over here, that is to hold the fabrics together. Now the straight stitch is done. This is how it will be. Now we'll start attaching the bias binding. This is the bias binding. So we just flip it over, and from the base we are going to, since it's a bias binding, one side is slanted, we are just going to make it straight. So just going to cut it, and we'll be aligning this on one side. So the top part will be folding it over like this, and then we'll align the raw edge all over and clip it. Now here when we reach the corner, that is the V part, we can make a small cut on the binding strip and then turn it, or else we can turn it directly by placing the needle over here, which I will be showing later on. Since it's a bias binding, it will turn easily. The same thing we'll do on the top part also. We can make small cuts or directly place it like this and make a stitch. So this is completely optional. Whichever way you're comfortable, you can always do it. Now the same thing will continue till the other end. Once we reach the end, the same concept we'll do. We'll just fold it over like this and stitch. So all around we'll make a stitch. Now when we reach the corner, we place the needle down, just turn it over and continue stitching. We finished stitching the bias binding all around. Now to complete this, we'll just flip it over to the other side. Now by folding it in the edge, what we have done is we'll be also covering this corner part. So to complete this binding, we're just going to fold it like this and again double fold it. So we have made one fold and another fold. This is how the bias binding will be completed. So this is another method of binding. Now we are going to do the same thing all around. Just double fold it all around, clip it, and we have to make a stitch on this. And this is how it will be looking from the other side. I will continue this right till the end. So I have clipped all around. I will make a stitch. Our binding is done all over. Now to attach the button, first we are just going to fold the flap like this. See that everything is neatly aligned. Where the button is, exactly there we'll be making a mark on the flap part. And we'll be doing the same thing what we did to attach the button on the other side. That is, we'll place the base on the mark that we just did. And on the base there are two holes. So we are going to make a mark on the holes. And we'll be using the exact same method. So our button is done and this is how it will be looking. Now to cover the top part, we are going to attach a fabric label over here. It's a simple straight stitch we'll be doing on both sides. Our paper or file organizer is completely ready and this is how it looks. If you found this video helpful, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.